Good afternoon, Power Players, and welcome to the T-shirt transfer paper Power Half Hour brought to you by Condé Systems. I am your host, Doug DeWitt. Thank you so much for tuning in. And in today's episode, we are going to give you a preview of our brand new Condé brand inkjet transfer paper for white and light color fabrics that we call JetMPrints II. And what we're going to do is we're going to compare and contrast that paper to what is pretty much the 800-pound gorilla in the industry, which is Neenah JET-PRO Soft Stretch, to see if they are comparable. But of course, before we get into that, we've got to pay the power bill. First thing I wanted to tell you about is the upcoming Sublimation Summit 2021, which is going to be running from September 30th through October 2nd. I want to say it's going to take place right outside of Atlanta, and registration information is available on our website now. So if you go to Condé.com or dyetrans.com, look for the banner and click on it. You might even get a nice little discount if you register with our coupon code. So make sure you register, make sure you attend, because it's one of the few venues that you're going to get this year where you're going to have live performers giving you all the info that you need to know. Another thing that you might need to know is here at Condé Systems, we now offer free ground delivery on orders over $200. Now, of course, some restrictions do apply, but we do have that information on banner ad as well on dyetrans.com. So make sure you check it out and check out the details, and make sure you keep shopping with us, because now a replica of this, of course, more to scale, will be bringing you your products free delivery. Compliments of Condé Systems. Glad we could work that out. Some other information that you might need to know: we are offering our quarterly gallery contest. It's everybody's favorite subject, back to school, at least for parents it is. But anyway, our quarterly gallery contest, you could win up to $400 in Condé credit just for participating, and there are other prizes available as well. So if you've got some really fun back to school gear that you have created, make sure to upload a photo on our Dyetrans and make sure you check out the banner. And of course, last but not least, it is the middle of summer, which means you should have something hot to read. Me personally, I like to turn to The Road to Sublimation Success, co-authored by our very own David Gross. It's got tips and tricks, it's got how-tos, it's got intrigue, it's got mystery, it's got passion. I tell you, you get this copy, you're not going to want to put it down from your beach chair. And how you can order it: you can order it from Condé Direct. You could also order it through Amazon or download it through Amazon Kindle. All right, power bill's been paid. I've got Rodeo Bo running shotgun with me, directing today's show. Thank you so much for doing that, Rodeo Bo. So let's go ahead and get started. First off, we're going to roll out the Challenger. This is our brand new paper, JetMPrints II. This is, again, an inkjet paper for white or light color transfers. What we are going to do is, let me just grab a few sheets. Of course, we got our backing sheet clearly marked here, but what we're going to do, let's go ahead and drop some in the printer, and let's get some transfers started with this brand new paper. Now, the printer that I am using today is an Epson EcoTank 2720. And when I send these prints through, give me 1 second to do that. I'm not trying to figure out any kind of fancy mode. Right now, I've got the printer set up for plain paper, standard resolution. But basically, what we just want to do is judge the quality of the print. So while these prints are spitting out of the printer, let's go ahead and get our next paper set up, which I would call the champion of the inkjet world, and that is Neenah JET-PRO Soft Stretch. Anybody out there who's ever done inkjet t-shirt transfers is probably very familiar with Neenah JET-PRO Soft Stretch. Again, this paper is a single sheet paper, solid film, again, designed to design and decorate white and light colored 100% cotton poly blends, maybe upwards to about a 50-50. So again, while we're doing the printing process here, and let me just get my second set of samples ready to go. And for the record, I am printing out of Corel Draw, just basically going straight through the Epson driver to the printer. So again, nothing fancy here. We just want to put two papers on a level playing field, see how they turn out. And I think I'm almost at my last print here. Okay. So here are the prints on the JetMPrints II. You notice I've got a nice little graphic provided to me by Dave Clement over at Great Dane Graphics. Dane, thank you very much for use of the graphic. But I've also got some photographs here, like so. And let's go ahead and get our other set running. And again, this is going to be Neenah JET-PRO Soft Stretch. Okay. Pardon me, folks, but I'm having some technical difficulty here. Let me just resend the job. It can happen when you try to demonstrate live, ladies and gentlemen. And I should know better because after all, I am the professional. Okay, so while we are waiting for the prints to come out, let's go ahead and do some prep work here on our new JetMPrints II. Now what I'm going to do in regard to prep work is I'm going to use my paper cutter and I'm going to trim the edges of my design. Now I'm doing this for a couple of reasons, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, anytime we can eliminate that excess emulsion layer, we are going to get a softer feeling design on the garment. The second reason that I'm doing this cutting here is because sometimes as inkjet paper comes out of the printer, it might catch the edge of the print head. And basically what's going to happen is it's going to put a little ink line along the edge of the sheet. You may not necessarily see it on the paper itself, but it will be visible when you attempt to transfer the design to your garment. So, using a paper cutter to trim away that edge. If you have a design that's hard to trim, so to speak, of course we can use a pair of scissors, which I will demonstrate now. The one thing that we cannot use whenever we are working with both the JetMPrints II or the Neenah JET-PRO Soft Stretch, we cannot use any type of craft cutter or vinyl cutter to trim away this excess film or excess paper. So like I said, use a paper cutter, use a pair of scissors, that should work out. Okay, give me 1 second here. Let me check on the status of my Epson. Okay. Let me try to print this one more time. There we go. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so now we are cooking with gas. And while those prints are coming out, let's go ahead and make up a couple of t-shirts by using the JetMPrints II. Then we're going to put the JET-PRO Soft Stretch, same image, right next to it, and we can compare and contrast the two. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my handy dandy George Knight DK20S swing away heat press. Going to go ahead and swing that out. Take my Hanes Beefy Tee 100% cotton t-shirt. Go ahead and put that t-shirt on the platen. Square up that shirt on the platen as best we can. Make sure we use a sticky lint roller to remove any contaminants. Otherwise, they will become a permanent part of our shirt. I want to smooth out that fabric as best I can. And I am going to do about a 5 to 10 second pre-press just to make sure I iron out my area, make it flat and smooth, make sure there's no moisture in the sheet. Now, that might be tough to do because there is a lot of moisture in beautiful Mobile, Alabama today. All right, but now we have a nice smooth area to work with. And what I'm going to do here, this is the print for the JET-PRO Soft Stretch. This is the print from the JetMPrints II. Let me go ahead and trim this one up real fast, and we'll put the two together side by side. Now, when it comes to applying the brand new Condé JetMPrints II, you want to set your heat press at about 350 degrees Fahrenheit. You want to set your timer for 20 seconds. The trick to using the paper is pressure. The JetMPrints II really likes a firm pressure. So what we have done here with my press, I've got my pressure bar set at about a 7 on my Geonite DK20S. Yours may vary, but basically you want to feel some resistance in the handle before the handle snaps shut. Now, JET-PRO Soft Stretch likes 375 degrees for 25 seconds. So what we're going to do in the interest of testing and saving time is we are going to apply both designs at the same temperature, 362 degrees, basically splitting the difference. We're going to go 25 seconds on both, and then we're going to use a heavy pressure. And then as soon as we're done, we're going to go ahead and peel the backing sheets and take a look at the finished results. So let me put the JetMPrints II image on top. I'm going to put the JET-PRO Soft Stretch image on the bottom. I'm going to use a sheet of butcher paper, protective paper, just to hold these in place. You can peel it away. I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, bear with me. I'm going to use a silicone sheet over the top of the JetMPrints. But I'm going to reheat this JET-PRO Soft Stretch rodeo bow because it's giving me a little trouble on the backing sheet here, something that I didn't anticipate. There's that backing sheet. So a little handy dandy trick for you out there. If you are using an inkjet paper, you're trying to peel it up, it feels like the backing sheet is sticking or starting to rip. Don't panic. Just cover your design, reheat it, and then once you lift the press, just pick it back up and start peeling again. No big deal. So now what I'm doing is a finishing press, again, using the same temperature, time, and pressure on both papers. And when we do a finishing press, we want to do it with a non-stick silicone sheet. And Bo, if you could give me an overhead shot, please. Let me turn this around. All right, hope everybody can see that. This right here is the JetMPrints II. This right here is the Neenah JET-PRO Soft Stretch. And judging from the color output of these two, I would say they are pretty much dead on, so to speak. So I guess the real proof in the pudding will be once we wash test this particular shirt. Thank you, Bo. And in the meantime, let's go ahead and work with another graphic. I'm going to pull this butterfly graphic because I think this butterfly graphic is super cool. This is the Neenah JET-PRO Soft Stretch. Like I said, just let me do a quick trimming of the edges. let me go ahead and pull out the JetMPrints II. And Bo, if you want to give me an overhead there, so we could look at these two papers side by side. What I'm noticing is the JET-PRO Soft Stretch seems to have a bit more color vibrancy when it first comes off the printer. Now that could be because the emulsion is still wet, seeing how it just came out the printer. It could also be that maybe the JetMPrints II has a slightly thinner emulsion. So one thing that we definitely want to note when we're working with either paper is that a little ink goes a long way when it comes to your inkjet printer. So the one thing we definitely don't want to do with either paper is oversaturate. Now, what are some signs of oversaturation? Well, if you see ink physically puddling on the surface of your transfer, you're putting down too much ink. If the paper does what we call cockling, which is you might see it waving here on the edges here, or sometimes the hard edge may want to curl up like this. If you're doing that, you're probably putting down too much ink. Just go back into your driver, reduce those settings, so to speak, reduce those ink level settings, and drop the amount of ink that you're putting on the two sheets. Remember, a little ink goes a long way. So this is the JetMPrints II that we will put up top. This is the JET-PRO Soft Stretch we'll put right next to. And again, I'm going to use a sheet of butcher paper just to hold the sheets in place, because I am getting some curling with the JetMPrints II when it comes in contact with the heat coming off of that heat press. What that again leads me to believe, so to speak, is that we might be dealing with a slightly thinner emulsion sheet than what Neenah provides with their JET-PRO Soft Stretch, or the backing sheet might be a little lighter. Either way, basically just using another piece of paper to hold the paper down while we drop the heat press on top. We just don't want to make sure that anything shifts around. Okay. Bo, this time I am going to peel the JET-PRO Soft Stretch, and let's see if I can peel the JetMPrints II right behind it. Now, again, Bo, if you can give me an overhead, that is the backing sheet from the JetMPrints II. It looks very clean. This is the backing sheet from the Neenah JET-PRO Soft Stretch, and I'm seeing some residual ink here. Now, it could be that this is an indication of I need to increase my temperature or I need to increase my pressure. So whenever you see residual ink on the backing sheet after you peel it away, again, you may want to bump up the temperature, bump up the pressure a little bit. I know that we're running the JET-PRO Soft Stretch a little lower and a little lighter than what we normally would. But even though we're running the JetMPrints II a little hotter than what we normally would, that's a very clean backing sheet there. So that part looks good. But we got both designs down. So again, what I'm going to do is cover my designs with a non-stick silicone sheet. And why are we using the silicone sheet? Well, this is to help drive the emulsion into the material. It will help set the ink. Also, when we're reheating, we can take the shirt, stretch it from side to side while that design's still warm to give it a bit more flexibility than what it would normally have. This is also going to aid in wash durability. Now, it's not required that you use a silicone sheet and a finishing press with either of these products, but we're just doing it here for demonstration purposes because personally I think it's just a good habit to get into. Okay, so let's gently remove our silicone sheet. And Bo, if you can give me an overhead shot once again. Thank you, sir. Okay. This way. All right, I hope everybody at home can see the output here. This graphic right here was done with the JetMPrints II. This graphic here done with JET-PRO Soft Stretch. Now, it may be difficult for the camera to pick up, but the one thing that I noticed by staring directly over it is that I do have a bit more saturation in blue with the JET-PRO Soft Stretch as opposed to the JetMPrints II. It might be hard to tell, but yeah, the Neenah JET-PRO Soft Stretch image does look a bit more saturated than the JetMPrints II. But as far as what I would call the hand or the feel, I would have to give it to the JetMPrints II right here. Now, you know, we're talking basically what I would call a minimal difference between the hand on these two paper products here, but the JetMPrints II does feel a little lighter. Again, that kind of leads me to believe that the emulsion film that's being used and the backing sheet, the combination of, it's probably going to be a little lighter with the JetMPrints than the JET-PRO Soft Stretch. Okay, so I think we got time for one more example here, so let's go ahead and give this another shot. I'm going to work with this graphic here. Basically, let's see how it does with a real photo reproduction. By the way, this graphic was provided to me by my good friend Rodeo Bo. Rodeo Bo, thank you very much for that. And I'm going to go ahead and chop up the JET-PRO. Again, why am I trimming these edges here? Just in case my edge caught the print head coming out of my printer. Like I said, it might be hard to see when you first look at the paper, but what will absolutely ruin your day is having a fine little line above your print. Anybody who's done inkjet prints knows what I'm talking about. Okay, so we got our two prints there. Again, we're going to use a Hanes Beefy Tee 100% cotton t-shirt. We're going to put that shirt on the platen. Smooth out that shirt as best we can. Square it up as best we can. Take our sticky lint roller. I know, Rodeo Bo, I'm being redundant. I should just call it a lint roller. But it is sticky, so I just got to call it like I see it, my man. All right, so make sure there are no contaminants on there. Drop the press down on the shirt for about 5 to 10 seconds to do our pre-press. If you're down here in the South right now and we're dealing with a lot of rain and moisture, you might have to leave it on a little longer when it comes to your pre-press. If you're out west where it's dry as a bone, maybe you don't have to pre-press at all. The key indicator is, do you see any steam coming off the shirt when you drop the platen down? If you don't, your shirt's dry, you should be good to go. Okay, so this is the JetMPrints II. We'll put that right there. This is the JET-PRO Soft Stretch. Put it right next. We're going to swing over. And again, you know, I'm pressing these two at 362 degrees for about 25 seconds. Again, this is just for demonstration purposes only. If you want the specific instructions for the JetMPrints II or the Neenah JET-PRO Soft Stretch, just check out our website. As a matter of fact, I've got product descriptions available as links down in the long description of our YouTube comments. So if you ever need to look up a particular paper that we're using or what heat press or equipment we're using, just make sure to check out the links in the long description. Okay. And again, Bo, I'm going to start with the JET-PRO Soft Stretch. And then the JetMPrints II. And even though I cranked up the pressure a little bit, I'm still seeing a little residual image coming off the JET-PRO Soft Stretch. Like I said, it's probably because we're about 10 to 15 degrees lower than what we would normally hit it. But the backing sheet from the JetMPrints II looks clean as a whistle. All right, let me get a silicone sheet. There's one right here. Cover these two designs. And again, just doing a finishing press. Pardon me. Now, when it comes to an inkjet paper, you don't need to go very long on a finishing press, about 10 to 15 seconds. Also, what you want to make sure is to allow that sheet to cool for a couple of seconds before you attempt to remove it. Once you do remove it, make sure there's no residual ink that has gotten into your silicone sheet. If that happens, you want to trash the sheet, get a new one, but as long as your sheet's clean, you can take the same silicone sheet, keep reusing it over and over until it's time to get a new one. So let's go ahead and pull this off. That looks good right there, Rodeo Bo. Give me an overhead so I can show the folks at home how these designs came out. Okay, so JetMPrints II right here, Neenah JET-PRO Soft Stretch right here. And again, if I had to notice the big difference between the two, I would say slightly more saturation coming off of the JET-PRO Soft Stretch, a little lighter hand or feel with the JetMPrints II as opposed to the JET-PRO Soft Stretch. All right, back to me, Bo. So, when it comes to these two papers, let's talk about what they have in common. They're both single sheet, self-weeding t-shirt transfer papers, which is basically a print and press operation. Both of them apply to white and light colored designs, white and light colored garments, I should say. The design can basically be whatever you want it to be. When it comes to the types of fabric materials, they were both going to work with 100% cotton to a cotton poly blend. Once you get beyond about 50–60% polyester in the garment, you might want to switch to a different paper that we supply, which is called Neenah JET-PRO Activewear, which is specifically designed to go onto sports performance polyesters. Now, where the papers are going to differ is the JetMPrints II is only available in two sizes, 8.5 inch by 11 inch or 11 inch by 17 inch. Whereas the Neenah JET-PRO Soft Stretch, besides being available in those two sizes, it's also available in what's called a Super B, which is a 13 inch by 19 inch cut sheet, and you can also get it in rolls. The rolls are going to run 100 feet and go as wide as 24 inches. Another advantage that Neenah JET-PRO Soft Stretch is going to have is its ability to work with solvent and eco-solvent inks. So if you're a sign shop and you've got a 24-inch or bigger machine and you're running solvent or eco-solvent ink for doing your instant signage, you could use that same setup and JET-PRO Soft Stretch to make t-shirts. Now, when it comes to the JetMPrints II, the JetMPrints II will work with dye-based inks and pigment-based inks. It just won't work with solvent or eco-solvent systems. But as far as dye-based or pigment-based printers, that basically is going to comprise about 98% of the printers in the inkjet world. So yeah, you could basically pick up an Epson or similar model right off the shelf, get either the Neenah JET-PRO Soft Stretch or our JetMPrints II, and you could start designing and producing your own custom design or short production run t-shirts. Now, as far as the JetMPrints II is concerned, because this is a Condé product, we do offer a 100% product guarantee on our own products. So if you order a pack of JetMPrints II and you are not satisfied with the results you are getting, you can return that paper and get a full refund from Condé Systems. So that's basically the skinny between our Condé JetMPrints II and the Neenah JET-PRO Soft Stretch. Now, what we're going to do for you on the next T-shirt transfer paper power hour, which will be in 2 weeks on Tuesday, August 3rd, we will put these garments that we just made through wash test, and we'll show you the finished results to see if direct washing is going to have any effect on how one performs over the other. Another thing that we're going to feature on our next episode of the T-shirt Transfer Paper Power Half Hour, sponsored by Condé Systems, is a brand new self-weeding paper for dark garments that we are calling Laser Imprints Trim-Free IC Dark. What makes this product so special? It's a thin enough A sheet that it can run through the new eye color systems that are on the market. So we'll play around with that paper with the next T-shirt Transfer Paper Power Half Hour. Again, that is going to be in 2 weeks, Tuesday, August 3rd, 3:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time. So remember, if you have any questions, you can inbox us, TTPPHH@Condé.com, or you can comment on our Facebook or YouTube channel and we will reply to you as fast as we can. If you enjoyed the show and you want to see more of it, make sure to subscribe, make sure to like, make sure to comment, make sure to emoji. 100p emoji is how I roll. I appreciate your time. So make sure you tune in 2 weeks for our next episode of the T-shirt Transfer Paper Power Half Hour. Until then, I'm Doug DeWitt, Product Manager here at Condé Systems, and my time is up, and I thank you for yours.